So I'm aware that it's the new year now, and I just start to reflect upon just the years that I've been speaking and really the years I was writing. And I've been trying to get across a single message. And really the point that I'm trying to make with all these videos and all this writing over the years is I'm trying to get people to see that they are the imaginal self. The imaginal you is the real you. Because all outward expression, everything we say, everything we do, everything we think has to come from some being, something that's aware of being. As Neville coined, he said, you can't act unless you first are. And so we're trying to go back to what we are. And what we find is that our lives are being shaped by what we're internally doing. The external life is being shaped by what I am doing internally. And what I'm doing internally is what I'm being internally. What am I being inside? And I've been trying for many years now, trying to get this message across the best I can from the way I understand it. And for this New Year's, we all try to come up with resolutions, and which is fine. We're trying to come up with some resolution, but the resolution really is one within one. The resolution's in oneself. It's all within us. It's not external. When you see that it's not external, you change your motivation, your intention, and you play this inward game versus this outward one. And the only resolution that really matters is the shaping of I am. That name that we shouldn't use in vain. We shouldn't just apply things to it that are otherwise to each other and to ourselves. We shouldn't apply blasphemous things to that name. We should try to uphold that name and lift it up and honor it. It's a name that was given to us. It's your first name. And no, it's not one that's uttered with physical lips. It doesn't need to be. You knew you were before anyone put a name on you. You knew you were. And we have shaped what you know you are. We've shaped it. We've given it ideas. We've planted seeds of states within oneself, either through our environments, our upbringings, and it's shaped our I amness. It's shaped what we are. And we've now come into contact. If you've listened to this and you listen to Neville, we've come into contact with becoming responsible, really, with this name. Now, Neville said, it's not he did, she did, they did. It's I am. And it's the hardest name to accept. It's so easy. I said this in the beginning of the book. It was one of the beginning quotes I wrote, or I put Neville's quote where he said, it was easier to blame everyone around me before I heard this. And it is. It's very simple to live a life where you blame people. It's very difficult to take upon this name of I am. Very difficult to look at it as a cause, because it pins me against myself. But as much as it pins me against myself, if I use it correctly, because it's also a power, I can free myself from what I'm pinning myself against. Whatever I'm denying myself, I can learn to accept that part. Whatever it is I'm restricting myself of having, I can give it to myself. And so it is, it's a two-sided coin to this. It can feel very frustrating when you hear that the name is I am, and it's not they did or they are. It's I am. And so for this New Year's, think about how you're going to shape this I am, and try to think about what it means for the I am, and where is I am. And you'll find that it's within yourself, and it's not something you say with your lips. We can try to our best with all our might, scream on the rooftops of our, on a mountain that we are something. But if we don't feel that internally, that we are that, we get what we are, not really what we're shouting. And so it's really important that we shape I am from the inside out, not necessarily shaping what our outer lips are saying. It doesn't really matter what they say. And I think everyone knows that by now. I think you've learned that we can say things we don't mean. And the same is true with ourselves. You can tell someone something you don't mean, but within yourself, you can also do the same thing. You have to mean it when you say it. It's also simple when you see it, but it's such a difficult practice. It's the simplest practice. Mean what you say. And shape I am. I mean, it's so simple. Shape it beautifully. I mean, it was given to you. It's a gift if you'll take it. And the name is I am. And you can start now to shape it. And it doesn't really matter where you start. I am is not bound by some physical circumstance. Although you might think it is. It's not. And so at any moment of time, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, what you're wearing, what you're thinking, you can change. You can change yourself. It doesn't matter. Now, that's very easy to say, more difficult to do, as Neville said in one of his books that he quoted Shakespeare, that it's easier to teach 20 people what to do than for me to follow my own teachings. And then he admits that he does the same thing. So it can be difficult to apply it. But you need to know what you're applying. And what you're applying, the way to apply this is to change I am. When you see that it's actually a freedom, not necessarily a burden, it becomes easier to apply. So that was just my take on the New Year's resolution. I understand there will be many people imagining new things, which is good, and I hope they're good things. But really the important thing is that you imagine that you are good. That you imagine that you are wonderful. That you are brilliant and bright. That you change how you talk to yourself, about yourself. And you no longer keep yourself in denial. Don't try to use outside things to shape your inner talk. You don't need to do anything to shape your inner talk. And you can shape it according to what you want. You start there. You have to take the position that the seen things in my life were created by things that are unseen. And if you take that approach, you'll start to change. You'll start to see that your true self is unseen. You might be aware of it, but it's unseen by mortal eye. And when you start to shape it, you'll notice that you'll express that self, you'll start to express that change in self naturally. It'll all happen naturally. Everything will befall you naturally. And so, again, that was just my take on the New Year's. I want to thank everybody for all the, for the years of just paying attention to this work and, giving me your ear and your time. And, the book has been out. It's been doing wonderfully. I do hope that those who read it enjoy it and they gain insight from it, and they really, really ponder on what's being said. Think about it, and I wouldn't read it quickly. I would just try to read it slowly. Try to take in what's being said. That's the only thing I could recommend is read it slow. Take it slow. And if you do want to purchase it, it's in the description. You'll see it there as well. And I am going live tomorrow for members on Friday at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'll be there. And I also do one-on-one. So if you're curious about that, just, again, email me from the description. It's all there. But, take what's being said seriously by Neville, that it is a change in I am. And so that's really what, for me, at least, that's how I take it. That for this resolution, how am I going to shape myself this year? And if I have to, I'm going to have to shape myself the next year and the next year. But, you can take one day at a time. You can take 1 year at a time. How will you shape yourself from the inside out? What are you going to start imagining? Start to imagine what you want versus what you don't want. You can just start simply there. But again, thank you guys for listening, over these years, and take care.